Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Kat Shear, and this is a special presentation from Clydesdale Media. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone about our sponsors. RX Smart Gear provides world-class jump ropes, grips, and other gear for us all. Use the code Clydesdale15 for 15% off your order at rxsmartgear.com. Mobility Movement is a program that teaches you how to increase your capacity to heal, reduce recovery time, and restore your nervous system to peak health. Everyone gets a 7-day trial, and after that, our followers will get their first month free when they use the code Clydesdale free month at mobilitymovement.com. And finally, C4 Energy, delivering the most effective and best tasting, highest quality products. Get 20% off when you use the code Clydesdale at checkout at c4energy.com. And let me add our new friend. So today on Meet the Athlete, we are chatting with Atlas Games semifinalist Parker Foster. Parker, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're going Atlas Games.
I know, I still kind of can't believe it, but we're doing it.
Amazing. So
Yes.
you're 23 years old. According to your profile on the Games website, you've been participating in the Open since about 2016.
Yes. Yeah,
Sounds
2016
about
was
right.
my first Open. I got into it my junior year of high school. So.
Oh, fun. High school. Here's what I like to do. I like to look at people's Instagram accounts and sort of just fire some questions away at you, and it'll sort of get the conversation going. Sound okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's see how accurate your highlight reel is into real life. So back in 2016, when you found CrossFit, it looks like, were you a quarterback?
No, I played football, but I was like a receiver and a corner back.
Okay. And that was in high school?
Yes.
Any other athletic endeavors, grade school, high school, to get you ready for CrossFit?
I played everything growing up, but in high school I was just track and football.
Okay.
We had good track team and good football team in high school, so competed in that stuff.
Did you run? Did you do the track side or the field side?
The track. So I would do all the sprint relays, so like the 100, 200, 400 sprint relays, and then I also did the 300 hurdles, which is like the least fun event ever. Yeah, running and jumping is, I mean, I could do both, but it was not fun to try to incorporate both.
And yeah, I bet you there's a lot of specialized training in that.
Yeah.
Moving along to 2017, there's a video of you snatching, and the caption says, "Finally cleared after 5 months." What was happening where you had to get cleared?
Yeah. So going into my senior year of football, like big year for football, and I was like trying to get recruited and all that stuff like that, like have a good year. Our first scrimmage, I like did something to my lower back after the game. It was like in like really bad pain, almost like burning, could barely walk, and then like chilled out for a week or so, and then tried to play the first game and figured out like it just didn't work. I could barely move. It locked up on me, and then I went and figured out that I had a pars fracture in my L5. So it's like on both sides. It's not the wings, but it might be the wings. I don't know. Anyway, but my L5 vertebrae, I had like a little fracture on both sides, and so it took me 2 years to get fully cleared from that. And then so that's whenever like my sophomore year of college, 2 years after that, is whenever I started actually getting into CrossFit like seriously, because I could finally start lifting heavy again and all that stuff.
That's scary. So you basically broke your back.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I know another very famous CrossFitter, champion, 5-time champion, who also broke his back.
Yeah. Right.
And happened to be pretty good at CrossFit. So,
yeah.
You're in good company there.
I know that was, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say like him. And then I know also Alex Smith had a bad back injury, kind of like that. I don't know if mine was as bad as theirs, but that I've kind of looked to them for a little bit of inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those are two, not too bad role models to look after, for sure. In 2017, there's a picture of you pheasant hunting. Where'd you do that? Is that where you live? Where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
So I'm from Ardmore, Oklahoma, which is like southern Oklahoma. I wish there were pheasants around where we live, but that's up in Kansas where I went hunting, just like southwest Kansas. Just
and
like
you're born and raised in Oklahoma and still there?
Yep. Now I'm in Norman. suburb of Oklahoma City.
I spent a lot of time in Norman, Oklahoma in my early professional days. I used to
Oh,
work
really?
I was an account manager for a telemarketing company, and they had call centers in Norman,
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma.
Maybe that
Yeah.
explains why we get calls all the time.
Right? Yeah. That was funny. I think it was the first time that I ever went to a Cracker Barrel
Oh, yeah.
was in Oklahoma, and I learned how to say "yont to,"
Oh, gosh. Okay, yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's instead of "do you want to," it's "yont to."
I don't
Fond
use that
memories.
phrase very often, but yes, I know exactly what you're
It's
talking
it's
about.
part of your vernacular, though. You
Yeah.
know what I meant.
You ought to say it more.
Yont to. Oh, that's funny. All right. So 2018, you posted a workout. A lot of CrossFit stuff, obviously, in your feed.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of picking out the interesting ones that I noticed. And you were doing a comp train workout. Are you still following comp train?
No, I'm actually for probably like the past 2 to 3 years been doing Mayhem, and I love it.
Have you?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
2 or 3 years, you were maybe one of those early adopters because it hasn't been around for that long, has it?
yeah. So my the owner of the gym that I am at the most often,
Mm-hmm.
Toby Johnson, he was like he like would lead our like Coda X class, like the competitor class, and he was subscribing to Mayhem like 2 or 3 years ago, and so we all started following it. It was actually right whenever quarantine had kind of got going,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember like over that period, we like because all we were doing was just training all day, and we had like all the time in the world to go train. And I got so much stronger during the quarantine. It was like crazy just following the Mayhem stuff. So I was like, okay, this stuff works and it's fun too. So I love doing it.
Yeah, that's interesting. People either tend to have gotten really strong during the pandemic or,
Mhm.
during shutdowns, or the total opposite, right? They
Right.
kind of just shut down, lose it all. I know as a gym owner, I get a lot of people that are coming in now that haven't done anything since the shutdown, right? And are just
Yeah.
kind of getting back into it. So that's cool that you sort of turned that negative into a positive and made it work for you.
Yeah.
So you went to the West Coast Classic last year
Yes. Yep.
on a team. So the Koda CrossFit team that you were a part of, correct?
Yes. Coda CrossFit Norman was the team that I was on that we sent there.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Your
It
first
was really
semifinal.
fun. I mean, it's my first like dipping my toe into like the actual like higher level competitive CrossFit scene. So that was like a big check off the list for me. First time in Vegas. Even though we didn't really get to
Same.
experience Vegas, it was just cool to go see everything. I enjoyed the events. I thought it was really fun. I remember doing it, and I was like, man, I would like to like come and compete at this as an individual next year if
Hmm.
the opportunity presents itself. Just the way that like they had stuff and it was a cool venue and all that. And then
Yes.
I also have to bring up if you're talking about West Coast that I
I'm
think
gonna I'm gonna bring it up.
okay, yeah,
I
you
think I'm
bring it
gonna
up.
bring it up. Is it a highlight of your weekend?
Yes,
Okay. So yeah, let's tell the folks.
okay,
Uh, double body weight clean and jerk.
yes, yeah,
It's
big. That
pretty
was
awesome.
I was like striving for that for a while, and then I think my PR going into that was 330, and so I'm like I float around 170, and so double body weight would be right around 340, and I was able to get 345, and I was like, just as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I was at West Coast Classic and I was recording that team. I'll have to go back and look at my footage to see if I have a video of it because
Oh, okay.
very well may have some footage of that. But I remember it because I mean I was there and paying attention, so
Yeah, that'd be
that was
awesome.
pretty cool. I definitely had to mention that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
One more thing before we go into sort of current stuff. You like gymnastics challenges.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So football player, hunter, track and field. Now all of a sudden you like gymnastics? How'd that come about?
I mean, so I've always been like on the smaller side of, I mean, track, you don't really need to be big, but football, I've usually been on the smaller side of things. And then into CrossFit, usually on the smaller side of things, I'm weighing 170. For whatever reason, I've always just kind of struggled to gain weight. So I've just, by circumstance, been able to like be good at gymnastics. I think it just helps being smaller, So I feel like anytime there's like a little fun challenge, it's, I guess, wheelhouse, I more likely to do the things that I'm good at than the things that I'm bad at.
Yeah, human nature.
Yeah.
For sure. You posted something about the 22 season. It wasn't the start to the season you were hoping for. There's a post in your Instagram of you lifting and doing things, no shirt, all muscly and whatnot. And you said, and I quote, "Not the start of the 2022 season you were hoping for."
Oh yeah.
What happened?
That in reference to like some of the open workouts, specifically the second one, the deadlift workout, like went very poorly for me. Like I was like, we all have our excuses, but I just wasn't feeling very good that day, and it didn't go as well as I wanted it to. But before the open, I was just telling myself, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to redo the workouts. Just do it once. And then, like, you need to focus on your other training because quarterfinals is what matters. And so I just not executing on a couple of the workouts as well as I wanted to. And so that was it.
And certainly a fleeting moment because, like you said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You're on to the next phase. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you're following Mayhem programming. Do you have a specific coach that's working with you?
I
mean, not from Mayhem, but at your gym. And
I don't have like specific, like one specific coach or anything. I have like a couple of the owner of Koda CrossFit Norman, Toby Johnson, and then the guy that one of the guys that started Koda in general, like all the gyms, and kind of has his hand in everything, Bryce Collier. They're both traveling with me to Montreal as my going to be my coaches for the weekend. But I don't like have a coach that I pay or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. What made you decide to go from team to individual?
Really, individual has always been the goal for me. I've just I feel like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm better suited for individual just because, like, I feel like team is a lot of like, you can be big and strong and have really good high power output and strength, and you can kind of get away with not being as good at running and maybe like super high skill gymnastics. So like the higher the skill, the more running, the more individualized, like the better for me. And I just like how I got into CrossFit was just looking at, watching, I think like the 2014 games and beyond, just like watching Rich and all them. That's what, like, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So this is what I want to pursue. So team was just like, I tried to make it as an individual last year and didn't make it to semifinals or whatever, did individual quarterfinals. And then I was like, okay, we can make it as a team. We'll have a good team in Norman. So we went and tried and made it as a team. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to go if I have that chance.
Sure. Yeah. Great opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about your training evolution. So you're relatively new to the sport compared to, some of the bigger names that have been doing this, since 2012, 2014.
Yeah.
How are you doing with balancing like sleep, nutrition, overtraining, mindset, all of those sort of ancillary things that they tend to come more with a more mature, athlete in the sport?
Yeah. I'm usually pretty good. Like I was like in reference to like overtraining and that stuff. Sometimes it can be hard because Mayhem, like, it's, they're kind of known for just doing volume. Like there's a lot of volume, and if you're going to compete at a high level in the sport, like you obviously have to make sure you're checking the boxes and working on all the things that you need to work on. But I think honestly that I'm pretty good about listening to my body, and if I'm really dying and like I need a break, like I'll take a rest day like ahead of schedule, like if I need to, or if I like it when it comes down to it, like when it's time to really push, I'm like, okay, This is the time that I need to be probably pushing a little bit more than I want to, or like my body's not feeling great, but I still need to do this stuff. I think I'm pretty good about that. The sleep, I sleep fine. I don't have any problem sleeping. And then nutrition is probably the thing that I struggle the most with, just like trying to stay on top of my like stuff, because like I just can't eat enough, like my metabolism is so quick, and is with as much as we're working out, that like I have to just like be eating every chance that I get. And I really should be meal prepping more than I do. But I will say I just luckily got like kind of connected to a meal prep like service sponsor, like a local one in the city, that also is helping the Team Koda that just qualified for the games out of Mid-Atlantic. I got hooked up with them, and so they've been helping me out a lot, which is I'm very thankful for.
Yeah. Is putting on weight sort of an issue for you then? Is that what you're getting at? Yes. So you don't like melt a pint of Ben and Jerry's and just drink it before you go to bed?
No,
I've heard that works.
I do not do that, but I'm a big chocolate milk guy. I love chocolate milk, so I can just kill some chocolate milk.
What's your go-to brand of chocolate milk?
Highland. Highland is the local brand around here. And I'm like,
nice.
Highland till I die on chocolate milk.
That's great. I love it. What do you do for fun, Parker?
For fun, like honestly, I just like I'll hang out with my girlfriend and watch whatever TV show is relevant at the time. And then depending on the time of year, like I really enjoy doing stuff outside. Like right now, it's a great time of the year to go fishing and stuff like that. But then during the fall, I hunt a whole bunch. So we have like I'm lucky enough to have a good place to go hunting, like a little south of here. So I'll spend.
You bow hunt?
Yes.
How isn't that boring? It's not boring to you?
So
you have to like sit around for a very long time to do that.
It can get a little bit boring. I'd be lying if it doesn't. But so like I'm the type that just like I like just going and like sitting like in the mountains and just kind of chilling out,
being in nature.
And seeing everything, because if you're quiet enough and whatnot, you'll see plenty of stuff. But I honestly like I probably hunt a little bit different than a lot of bow hunters. Like I won't just go like sit in a tree stand for 8 hours. Like sometimes I will do that, but I like to like get on the ground and like try to like spot and stalk and like like predict where the animals like the deer are going to be, and then try to like make a move on them, like try to outsmart them a little bit. And it actually worked. Like I had my best hunting season ever this past season. So
it's like a real life video game.
Yeah, it's very intense.
I bet. All right, so back to competition. Have you done a mock weekend training session?
No, I have not done any like mock semifinals or anything like that.
Do you plan to?
No. So I've been testing events and stuff like that, and I'm probably gonna test. I don't know if you saw, they just put out the first event last night.
I did not.
So we could discuss that if you wanted to, but I'm probably
let's.
Yeah. So the first released Atlas Games event, they have the two that are the same for all of them, but they put out one, last night on the app, and then they put it out on Instagram this morning. But it's 3 rounds for time, 21 cow ski for guys, 15 parallel handstand push-ups, and then a 90-foot front rack walking lunge with 175. So
nice. Okay.
I immediately saw that and I was like, okay, I think I could do good on this one. I like, oddly enough, like I was saying, the higher the skill, the better for me. I'm not like the world's best handstand push-upper, but the further the difficulty goes up, so like parallettes are like the hardest version you could do other than freestanding. Like parallettes are better for me than like regular kipping handstand push-ups, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay. It does. I mean, it doesn't, but how is that possible?
I can't do more reps at them, but like relative to everyone else's ability to do parallettes, I'm better, if that makes sense.
You're like more of a specialist in those areas.
Yeah. So
cool.
I think that has potential to be to be a good one for me, just because I know parallettes are hard for a lot of people. But I know that what is it, 270 foot of front rack lunging with 175 pounds. That's going to be a good one to start the weekend. Everyone's going to feel that in their legs for the rest of the weekend.
For sure. How about the two standard workouts that are coming up from CrossFit?
Yeah,
I can probably guess which one's your favorite.
Yeah. So I'm actually again, really looking forward to the legless and rope climb. Like I was saying, I have a track background, and then I have a good vertical, so I think I can 3-pull the rope every time. Like I'm 5'8", but I could dunk a basketball.
Yeah. Oh wow. So, it's almost like you've heard, I don't know if you've heard commentary about that workout where people are criticizing CrossFit for bringing back something from 2014 and how, they should make it harder. And I bet you're probably like, yeah, I wish they had made it like 2 rope climbs instead of 1.
Yeah.
Because that would have favored you for sure.
Yeah, just more separation.
Yeah.
I've even heard people talk about like pegboard stuff. So that I think that would have been cool to see, just to do some pegboard, but I know that's like pretty up there for skill level.
So this might be a loaded question, but what kind of podcasts do you listen to?
So obviously listen to the Savant podcast.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And all that. I listen to a little bit of like Joe Rogan. I listen to like Meat Eater podcast. That's just like a TV show, like kind of an outdoor podcast.
Okay.
I don't have like a whole bunch.
Have you heard of Andrew Hiller?
Yes. I listen. Watch a little bit of Hiller. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the. I'm obviously not trying to call anyone out, but
let's do it.
Of that he posted of the old regional with Dave and Ryan Fisher, and
that was about me. I was the cat.
You?
I'm Kat Shear, the person that he did the video about.
Okay.
So did you just see the one little clip, or did you see the whole thing?
I just saw the little clip.
So go back and watch that, because literally my face is on that whole clip like the entire time. I was mortified. It's hysterical. It's about judging, because I used to judge. Yeah. And I did another podcast and was talking about judging. And he goes off on a tangent. It's really, really funny.
Yeah. I'll
scare the crap out of me. But yeah, so when Castro went off on Ryan Fisher.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just like from day one, this is what I was saying, why we're gonna miss Castro, because he's not afraid to go up and just be straightforward and honest with people, and not just let people let things get worse than they need to.
Right.
Just go confront the problem head on and take care of it.
Have you had a chance to watch? I assume you've been following the semifinals leading up to yours, correct?
Yep.
Any takeaways from them? Things that stick out in your mind, things that you're going to take along with you, things that sucked?
I think for me, I haven't been getting too caught up with the events and everything, just because I know ours are going to be different, but I've obviously been watching the events that we're going to do, how people are attacking them, the strategies for the lift and all that stuff. Programming, I think there's been some good, some bad. Yeah, I mean, nothing ground earth shaking thoughts about the previous semifinals. Just I've enjoyed watching them. It's just making me excited to go myself,
Yeah. So the Far East Throwdown is actually live right now. I was watching a little bit. I was watching Roman Krennikov do. I think he hit 340 for his second or third lift of the complex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and looked super smooth doing it. But what I thought was very interesting, and we'll probably talk about this on our podcast next week. The athlete briefings were broadcast, so you don't usually see, as a spectator, the athlete briefings, right? I don't even know if media are really invited to those athlete briefings, but I thought it was interesting because, there's this whole thing about the judging and the standards and the whole Scott Panchik thing with the rope and all that. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't know if it was a conscientious decision they made to actually broadcast the briefing, but it was interesting because you got to hear everyone's questions and sort of everyone was on the same page. And you as a spectator, could pop in and listen as well and see sort of what they were holding as a standard. Because I know when I watch a broadcast, sometimes I'm screaming at the TV because I think someone's doing something wrong and a judge isn't calling it. But
Yep.
I wasn't at the briefing, so I don't really know what was talked
Yeah.
about. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't think, to my knowledge, that I've ever seen an athlete briefing on broadcast before.
So
It was
that
cool.
was Far East that they did that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And it started, if you go back like to the feed, like maybe 2 or 3 hours ago when it started, you'll see them, assuming they leave it on there and that wasn't like a mistake.
Right.
You could go through the whole briefing. It was interesting. And
Yeah,
be interesting to see how they brief the 2 workouts that are the same, from semi to semi, to see if there's any consistency there. Because it looked as though the judges were not letting the athletes finish their clean, the first 3 cleans, until they gave a signal to go. So there was no like quick cycling, bouncing off the shoulder to the ground. It was, you had to wait for the judge to do this before you could move on to your second and third clean. It was interesting.
Yeah, it's funny.
Seemed button up.
Because I was, if it didn't get brought up at ours, I was gonna be like the guy that everyone hates that brought it up, because like you need to know, like you have to standardize something. And so like whenever I've been practicing that complex, I've made sure every single time that
you're standing up and
Yep.
fully extended.
Yeah.
So. Be the standard. I like it. Okay. So how far, what kind of trip, planes, trains, automobiles do you have to go through to get to Atlas Games?
Yeah, I'll be flying out of Dallas, so we'll drive down to Dallas.
Okay. And
then I think, I could be wrong, but I thought it might be just a direct flight to Montreal.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. My coaches are actually flying so they'll fly out of Oklahoma City, and then connect with us in Dallas. So we'll actually get to be on the same plane, which is nice. But
nice. Yeah.
Then we're just staying at, I think it's like the Hotel de Monville, one of the.
Have you ever been to Canada?
So I've never even been out of the country.
Did you have to get a passport?
Yes. Yeah. And it's so the whole, we could go into this. This is a kind of a funny story. Before the season even started, or like leading up to the season, whenever they were like, okay, we're doing Canada this year for sure, I was like, all right, like, probably not going to end up going there, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm just going to go ahead and get my passport, just to be safe. And then sure enough, weeks later, I originally missed qualification for semifinals, but then all the backfilling happens and I end up being the very last person to get into semifinals. And, sure enough, it's in Canada.
Sure. At that point, you pretty much know, you're like, if I'm going, it's going to be Atlas Games.
Yeah. And it's another funny thing about that is that there's still one more open spot in Atlas Games. So like I was the 29th guy to get put in. There's still technically not a 30th guy in there. And so like, I don't know, like I was talking to guys ahead of me and stuff like that. And so whenever I was kind of expecting to get the invitation, I like emailed CrossFit. I was like, hey, like I got my passport, I got my vaccine. I'm good to go. Like, just like if you need to fill spots, like I will accept mine. Like, so I don't know if it's like they just had like people, I don't know how they did it, but I like hopefully that's helped me get in or whatever. But
yeah, I think it helps to be proactive, and let them know if they need an easy in. I know that there were a couple guys on that roster because a couple weeks ago when we started all these interviews, I actually pulled the leaderboards to try to reach out to everyone, to schedule these interviews. And I noticed that a couple of the people that were on the leaderboard for individual were actually going team.
Yes.
So, and that sort of messed me up a little bit. I actually interviewed an athlete for Granite Games last week who was on team, and I didn't know she was on team. And I sort of went through this whole thing like, oh, what made you want to be individual? And she's like, well, I'm not, I'm going team. And I was like, oh crap. I pulled the leaderboard too early.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't refresh it, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. Let's just wrap up here. What is your goal for the weekend, Parker? Ultimate goal?
So I've kind of like set some different goals, like for like lowest level goal and then like my big goal and stuff like that.
Sure.
Even though I'm literally like the last place seated guy going into the weekend, like my lowest goal for the weekend is to be in the top half of the field. And then like my big goal is to like be in the final heat, like competing. So like,
That would be cool. Yeah,
just throwing down and giving myself a chance at least,
absolutely. I love it. What would you like people to be saying about you after watching you compete this weekend?
I would say that, like just he has the mindset that he's never out of the fight, just like constantly hustling and trying to stay in it, and that even though he's small, he can like still compete with the best of them. Like I'm small, but I feel like I still have fairly good strength and that kind of stuff. So
Awesome. Well, your buddy Tyler is saying, "Let's go,
yeah,
Parker." Well,
we have a guys chat at the gym, and so they're probably like texting
all
each other
watching.
right now to go sabotage the chat.
Perfect. Well, we're getting out right in time then. That's great. We're at 31 minutes. You were the longest of these that I've done so far,
Oh,
and that didn't seem like it seemed like it flew by. So thanks for being so easy to talk to.
oh yeah. Thanks for asking me easy questions. It's always easy to talk about yourself. So
It sure is. Well, we're wishing you the best of luck. It was great to get to know you, and in a week's time, we'll be watching you on a live stream.
thank you. I
All right.
appreciate the opportunity and the chance to do this very much.
Yeah. Keep in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
You
Sounds
have a
good.
good
All
one.
right.